Story. Let us be authentic, let us be genuine, and let us just use us to inspire, support, encourage somebody watching. Lord, it doesn't matter if it's 1 million people watching or one person watching. As long as people feel your love and your encouragement and your support, then we consider this a success, and we're just honored to be able to do this. We give you all the glory, and we just ask you to use us. Amen.
Amen.
Just like Underdog, like your story needs to be heard. Like this whole thing is about celebrating underdogs and just telling their story.
Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated, yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated, we the ones, yeah, we the ones, yeah, we the ones, we the ones, yeah.
Hey, what's poppin'? It's Nick Graham, author Underdog. Today, very, very excited. Got an amazing basketball player, somebody that I've always been a fan of since day one, Kham Davis. Hey, thanks for popping up on us, man.
Of course, man. I'm glad to be here, man. Spend some time with you.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, before we get started, one of the things that I wanna start. This is the first show where I'm gonna start that. Just to start off with the mental health check-in. How's your mental health right now?
It's good, man. It's getting better. I would say it's definitely getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Life be lifing.
Life be lifing, for sure, for sure.
So sometimes you got to tap in with the people around you, make sure you're good. But I would definitely say I'm on the up.
Yeah.
Say, how your mental health going?
My mental health, kind of in the same boat. My mental health, I'm proud of myself because I think I'm in the process of healing. You know what I mean? Just having the courage to completely heal. Like, I've been on a healing journey for like over 10 years.
Okay.
And I feel like because life be life and all of us has healing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether it's forgiving ourselves, whether it's forgiving other people, whether it's overcoming some things that other people have done, whatever it is, work, trauma, all that. And I got a little bit of all that.
Mm-hmm.
But
same.
Yeah,
for sure.
Today's the first day in a long time I woke up with a smile on my face.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I can feel myself healing, and I just, for me, I just want to just talk about that and normalize that because, a lot of people are afraid to heal because it is painful. Healing is hard.
Oh, it's very, very hard, man. It's something that's, it seems like a daunting task almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
It's painful. It can be very painful to try to go back and heal yourself. So
no question. And you brought up a good point as you talked about your mental health. I think that's one of the big things is surrounding yourself with the right people. Surrounding yourself with the right people. I had a pastor once say, did he call them healing partners or pain partners?
Okay.
You got to have pain partners. These are people that listen to you without judging you. These are people that don't let their insecurities of not knowing what to say or what to do prevent them from being present. If they don't know what to say, they're still there. They give you a comfort to know you're not alone, that you're understood, that you're heard. Sometimes, you just need to be heard. So just having those type of people, it sounds like you've been able to, surround yourself with those people.
Yeah,
right?
And I get goosebumps as you talk, man. I really do get goosebumps because I really believe we weren't meant to be alone. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes presence is better than anything else. I don't need you to say the right thing. I just need you to be in the room. You know what I'm saying? And that can go further than anything else sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially as men. When we're not really encouraged to talk about, the problems, or it's not normalized for us to at times. It's like, sometimes I just need you here, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Especially black men on top of that.
Absolutely.
I don't know. So I've got my third book is done. I haven't published it, but it's a guided journal.
Okay. Yep.
And I'm really excited for it to serve whoever, but specifically athletes and specifically black men. Not that that's just who it's for, because man, when you read the statistics, black men are showing up as severely depressed at an alarming rate. Black men are committing suicide at a surprisingly rising rate.
Yeah.
So just talking about mental health, so I appreciate you being vulnerable and being tough. The reason that I have you on here is I always considered you an underdog as an athlete. To be able to, you from Colorado, not a lot of, I remember when I first started training, the first year, bro, I started training, there was one male basketball player that got a scholarship in that entire class.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
and for you to be able to go high major and play at Pitt, you know, from a state like this, and you were never the guy that you were always an under the radar guy, a guy that was getting overlooked and getting dismissed. So I'm just excited to explore that. I consider you underdog. Obviously, I don't want to spoil what we're going to talk about, but some things that happened to you which caused your career to end, and how you've responded to that is amazing. But for you, do you consider yourself an underdog, and if so, why?
Man, yeah. To this day, I would consider myself an underdog. Honestly, if you really go through, I guess, my history, for people who don't know, on every single team, I was never the best player. I always had to work my hardest to get to the top. Like on my AAU team, I played for Billups Elite. I was on a select team at first. And I wasn't starting on a select team. Until I was starting on the select team, I started averaging like a double-double at some point. Brought me to the elite team, again, off the bench, till I worked my way up. It's like every single team I've been on in my career, high school, AAU, college, I never started off the best. I had to work and had to persevere, and that's kind of been my story. So do I feel like I'm an underdog? I feel like that could be my last name for real.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I love that, and that's crazy to think. An underdog is a competitor. That's the definition, a competitor that appears to have no chance to win the fight. And I work with a lot of athletes of all ages, and I understand how important and how fragile the mentality is of an athlete between the ages of like 11 to 17.
Wow, yeah.
So how in the hell were you able to not start on these teams and still believe in yourself, and to the point where you became a high major basketball player? You played at the University of Pittsburgh. For those that maybe not as experienced in the athletic space, that's a huge deal. You know, when you look at the statistics of just getting a scholarship at a D3 or a D2, it's damn near impossible. But then you go D1, it's like hitting the lotto. But then you go high major. So how were you able to, where did it come from for you to be able to not downsize your dream? See, a lot of people, when something doesn't change immediately externally, they begin to abandon their dream or downsize your dream. What was it about you that allowed you to continue to believe in yourself and show up to reach that dream?
So I'm going to answer this from two perspectives, right? Because one, I believe in God. That's the first thing I'm going to start with. I think when you have something bigger than yourself that you follow and listen to, it kind of gives you direction and gives you purpose, right? I didn't have to believe I was the best on every court to show up and give my best. You know what I'm saying? I knew that, you know, I had a verse that was on my bag. It was, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And that's why I kind of built my my confidence through. It's like, even if I don't think I can do it, I know who can. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was like the first part to it. And the second part that I explained to is upbringing. Like, I didn't really have much growing up. Like, at some point in time, me and my family lived in a transitional home. So, like, we didn't have a lot. So, me playing basketball and get to college was the only way I was going to make it out. And my mom kept us sheltered enough to where I wasn't exposed to other things, you know what I'm saying, like drugs or street game, you know what I'm saying, like street stuff. So, for me, basketball was really my only option at the time. I was smart, but I didn't see a lot of people getting academic scholarships at the time. So, for me, it was like, that was my only option. I had no plan B. It was all plan A.
Your plan B was to make plan A work.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Plan C was make plan B and make plan A work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you talk about so you talk about being in a transitional home. How long were you guys in a transitional home?
We was in there 1.5 year. 1.5 year. Yeah. It was that's when I went to Maury Middle School, and we was in a transitional home on Gilpin Street. Yeah, and I remember walking to school every day. I was like 12 blocks away, I think. And I was walking to school all the time. We didn't really have much. When we moved in, my mom used IKEA boxes as furniture for us. Yeah, we didn't really have anything. So yeah, like, that was where I was coming from. So basketball was really my getaway. I didn't care who was better than me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I'm doing my thing. I'm in my own lane, just trying to enjoy my life and get somewhere. So
I appreciate you sharing. You talk about being in a transitional home. So not only were you in a transitional home and you grew up like that, you know, so for my audience to give them more context about your story, you went to high school, here in Denver at Valor Christian.
Yep.
Valor Christian is that everybody that's been in a big city understands that private school where you pull up, where you go into the parking lot and, you know, it's a BMW with no tag, brand new BMWs, Range Rovers and whatnot.
That's real too, yeah.
You know what I mean? Tuition, I believe, is like 30-something grand a year.
It's like college tuition.
So how was that, like, coming from where you came from? How was that experience for you? Was that a challenge? Was that something you enjoyed, or was that difficult as well?
It was difficult. No matter what stage of life I was in, I never fit in, right? And I think that's one of the things is I learned to be comfortable with not fitting in. So like I said, I was in a transitional home. I wasn't exposed to certain things, so I was still reading. I still did certain things where I was more smart and more wasn't necessarily in the culture the way, you know, my mom sheltered me a lot, so I didn't fit in when I was in inner city school. You know what I'm saying? I didn't fit in, but when I went to Valor, I'm still blacker than the average. You know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to be here. I'm on a scholarship. I'm on certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, even I had assistance with even my lunch. Like, even my lunch had to be assisted. Right. So I'm for real don't fit in there, and that was a hard transition too, because it was just like you no matter where it was, you was always going to stand out. No matter where you was at, you was going to be the one. Hey, our one black friend. That's Kham Davis. You know what I'm saying? So,
as it relates, when you talk about that, I nowhere near as extreme as you, but I understand that. Like, I grew up, I was born in Dallas. We figured that we had that in common. You said more Duncanville, right? You spent some time. Same thing. Oak Cliff is right next door. So like, I grew up in Oak Cliff. I was born in Oak Cliff, went to a black church, black neighborhood, black basketball team and all this. And my dad was a college coach. Then when I was 10, he moved. So I went from there to Albuquerque, where there was no black people.
Yeah, oh, that's a switch.
You know what I mean? And then I went from there to Stillwater, where it was just country. And, you know, so I'm curious to see, do you think that experience, and at that time, did it affect you from your really living and understanding your identity, or did it kind of strengthen your identity because you had the courage to discover, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be?
So I would say a little bit of both. I think the part that it really helped me was my individuality as a person, right? Like, I knew who Kham Davis was. I knew I was going to be a good guy. I knew I was going to work hard. Like, those individual qualities of myself really stood out in those crowds, because, like, people weren't willing to do the things I was willing to do. And I got that from being raised how I was raised and not really having a lot, you know what I'm saying, and not living in the same environments as them. I was just way more hungry than they were. You know what I'm saying? Like, I experienced life differently. But at the same token, it's almost like if you're not in their environment, you have to kind of, not that you have to, you don't really have to. If you want to be comfortable, it's almost like you got to kind of dull yourself. And it's sad when I say it now as an adult, right? I wish I never did this, but as a child or as a young man, like, I had to hold a lot of myself back so I didn't make other people uncomfortable. Right? You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have to, you know, rock the boat too much to where I can still get where I need to get to without having people pre-categorize me for things they don't really know about me. You know
and you had it coming from both, right? Because your mom sheltered you, which turned out to be a blessing. Right? Absolutely. Because, you know, tremendously, you know, amazingly educated young man that you've developed into. So, you know, maybe you were ahead of a lot of people in that regard. So they labeled you as different because of that. Then you go here and you're going to be different because you black and you're the only black person. And not only that, the difference in your lifestyle and in terms of your family's economic background and theirs.
Oh, absolutely.
But do you think that, I tell people, for me, as I look back on my journey, it was preparation for me to be me. Just moving a lot, because I experienced the thing that maybe adults experience. I experienced it as a kid. And realizing that, I remember when I transferred from Adele Turner Elementary School, and I was talented and gifted. Then I went to the school in New Mexico. And the teacher thought I was dumb just because I was black. You know what I mean? And so she didn't even teach me. So I'm like, even though I'm smart and I'm talented and gifted, like, I'm still a kid, and you're teaching me things that I've never been taught. So of course I'm gonna struggle. You know, so I had to work through that stuff at a young age.
And what's sad about that too is, like, people don't understand, like, somebody's capability of learning, like how fast they can learn versus what they're exposed to, affects it too. Like, you might have been exposed to less at your first school than in your second school, but you being gifted and talented means that you have a capability to learn fast.
Right.
So if she actually invested into you,
right,
it'd have been a whole different story.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
they don't even give us that chance sometimes. It's like, you wouldn't know how smart it could be if you even really wanted to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the difficult part about it.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, it sounds like we both have a commonality where we were hit with a fork in the road early in life, where we are either just going to be a chameleon and just compromise our identity to whoever we're around, or we were just gonna like stand on this is who we are. And so for me, I'm just grateful for that, because I'm comfortable with that. Like, when you talk about being your best self, now that you are into adulthood, like, you were going to be different. I say all the time, you know, like, we empower and we put things on social media about, you know, promoting being unique and just being one of one and stuff like that. But we don't talk about the difficulty, the isolation, the misunderstanding that comes along with that. Here's the thing. We live in a world where when you embrace that I am one of one, there's nobody like me, you'll never meet anybody like me, and embrace that and lean into that and discover who you truly are and what you were created to do. Like, you said a phrase that I frequently write to myself in my journal about rocking the boat. You're going to rock the boat.
Oh yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
when you say this is who, and you walk into a room and you have that aura, right? And just, I'm comfortable in my own skin and I'm comfortable being me, good, bad, or ugly. There's going to be insecure people around, and they're going to try to push you into a box and conform and try to force you to conform with the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people are in this passive aggressive battle where the people around them are upset with them and trying to influence them to just compromise who they are. And just fit in this box that you were never created to fit in or walk in.
Absolutely. And one thing, it's funny because you say that, because one thing I learned in my life is, like, the more you're yourself, the more you're going to make your environment uncomfortable. Right? The more you live as your true self, the more people around you who are not living their true selves get uncomfortable. And it's almost like you expose that of them. Right? When you can finally live in your peace and be who you are, and be the individual in this anomaly, you know what I'm saying, being a standout person, like, you will make the room uncomfortable. And I started taking pride in it. For sure. Like, if I'm around you and I'm being myself and you're uncomfortable with that, that says more about you than me.
Yeah, it says a lot about you, for sure.
Exactly. And that's something you kind of have to learn, because like I said, we have always been uncomfortable in every environment. So you learn how to live with it, and once you kind of start living with it, oh yeah, I'm gonna rock the boat for sure. And I'm happy about it.
And I'm not trying to. I'm just being me.
Yep.
And like you said, like, knowing that that's a you problem. You know, that's not a me problem. I think that's so important, because people will try to gaslight you and get you to internalize it like there's something wrong with you.
Like, bro, you ain't doing this with us, or you ain't gonna go out with us. You ain't gonna do. It's like, nah, that's not me. I'm cool. You can enjoy yourself or do what you got to do, whatever it is, but I'm gonna stick to doing what I like doing, or be who I am. I know that's what makes me special. That's what makes me stand out. That's what gets me to the next level that you may or may not get to. Who knows?
Yeah. Somebody said it to me like this. You know, just don't allow somebody's issue with you to become an issue for you.
That's a bar. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can have an issue with me. That's fine. Like, and I think you take that, and then you take the fact that some people are naive enough, or something that isn't quite right internally, where they feel the need to be liked and are foolish enough to think that everybody's gonna like them. Yeah. And that's what holds you back from being your true self. Like, when you have the humility, the intelligence, and the liberation to say, like, I'm okay and I understand everybody's not gonna like me. You know what I mean? I think that's you have to do that before you can truly be who you are. And when you do that, that's what that quote says. Okay, you have an issue with me. Okay, that's cool. Like, that's fine, but it's not an issue for me. Exactly. You know, and that's just the way it is. Like, you know, you've read my book, and I'm excited to get into that, but the lemon drops, I don't know if you remember, one of the lemon drops is like, you could be the sweetest, ripest, juiciest peach in the basket. There's still gonna be somebody that don't like peaches.
Absolutely, no matter where you at, somebody not gonna like peaches, man. And it's cool because you use a reference about the lemons, right? By making lemonade with the lemons you get, right? And like, the way that it resonated with me was that, you know, we all kind of dealt different cards. We've been in situations where we have to be uncomfortable a lot, right? But what do you do with the lemons that you're given? And that's the thing, is like, you gotta make lemonade at some point. Like when I was younger, I moved a lot too. When I was younger, I didn't go to the same school until high school. Like every year I had moved.
Yeah.
So a defense mechanism for me was learning how to make friends, being likable, right? Until I got in situations where I learned that no matter what you do, somebody's not gonna like you, like you just said, right? So what do you do with that? Cool. That's when you build individuality. All right, this is the limits I'm handling right now. Okay, cool. What am I gonna do with it? All right, now I'm gonna be more myself. Then let me take the limits. Okay, you don't like me anyways. Cool. I'm gonna take the limits. I'm gonna be more myself, and I'll be around people who really do like me, and environments that will really nurture that. You know what I'm saying? That's when you really take off. It's when you like make the most of what you got.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Hey, Denver Hoopers. Hey, listen, man. If you're serious. Like, if you ain't, don't worry about it. But if you're serious about reaching your basketball goal next year and beyond, you cannot throw this summer away. Hey, this is Nick Graham. I'm in the gym all summer. I've coached at Iowa State. I've trained NBA players. I've trained some of the best players in the state. And I'm just here to tell you, man, make sure you take advantage of this summer. So June 1st, we're starting the Nick Graham Summer Skills Academy. I hear people say this a lot. Thank God that I don't look like what I've been through. I mean, I feel like that's you. Whether what you overcame towards the end of your basketball career, but like even some of the things that you shared with me about your childhood, about just abuse and stuff like that.
Yep.
And for me, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on here. Just to, I think some people, we talked about the mental health and the healing.
Yeah.
I think that some people bury their hurt. And if you bury your hurt and don't deal with your hurt, it's going to show up. But when you talk about your hurt and when you talk about those things in a constructive way, not in a way like I'm dwelling, but in a way that I'm tough enough emotionally to deal with it, then who you are and who you're continuing to become is the product. And that's what I want people to see.
Absolutely.
So like, how are you? I would love for you to talk about like, what you went through with that as much as you're willing to share. Absolutely. And whatever the tools, the resiliency, and how you were able to overcome that and not let that hold you back.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about how I even played basketball at first. Ironically, I went to college for basketball. I was a soccer player. Like we talked about this a little bit, but that was my future. My first soccer game, I scored 7 goals. Like, I was a soccer phenom, right? But in Texas, when I was living with my stepfather and my mother at the time, my stepfather was a little bit abusive, physically and emotionally. And during this time period of life, he was a little bit more aggressive. My mom noticed that. So it was in the winter time, so it wasn't during the soccer season. So she was trying to find anything to get me in, get me out the house, right? It happened to be, we still in Texas at the time, but it happened to be this little YMCA league basketball. And the story about that is like when she was driving me to practice, he didn't want me to go. So he actually met us in the parking lot. Like, he was like, "No, he's not going in. He's not going in." She was literally fighting to get me into that gym to get me to my first practice. And what she did is she pushed me through the door while she stayed in the parking lot and argued with my stepdad to get me in the public eye. Like, she pushed me through the door. And my first practice was her staying in the parking lot arguing with my stepfather for like the whole duration of my practice while I had my first basketball practice, right? So that's how I got into basketball. So when we had moved and when we came to Colorado, it was winter, around winter time. She was like, "Do you want to play basketball again?" Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure. And I would say this too, is another thing my mom did, she got us into therapy. As soon as we got to Colorado, she got us into therapy. I promote this. If you were listening, get some therapy. Like, don't shy away from therapy, man. It really is meant to help you. And I think that's one of the things that kind of saved me at a younger age, especially as a younger age.
Yeah.
Was that
because you weren't so probably closed-minded to it.
You get what I'm saying? And also, it wasn't rooted in me yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're very malleable when you're young, and you're easily bended. So getting us healed at an early age stopped it from really taking root the way it probably could have.
Yeah.
And and that's what kind of helped me stay grounded. So when we got away from the abuse, we got into therapy. I got back into basketball, and it became my second form of therapy. Yeah,
I was going to ask, was basketball therapeutic? What about basketball like serves as therapy for you?
Man, the camaraderie. I like the camaraderie of basketball, and I like that on the court you can't lie. There's one thing about on the court that I really like is like it respects the work, right? So like, you really, don't get me wrong, there's some people who are talented. We all came across people who are just talented on the court, but the people who really stand out, people who put the work in, and that's what I loved about basketball is like, I was never shy of work. So it it made sure it rewarded me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I had heart in it and I worked hard, it was going to show in the court. And like that's what I loved about it. It's like I had my people with me, and you had to outwork me to beat me. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was.
Yeah. You know, I never really. For me, basketball, I think anybody tell you, you know, is the camaraderie. I call it fellowship. Even as a basketball trainer, you know, I'm single. You know, I don't want to be single. So, you know, somebody feel free to slide. And then woman of God, you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
You know, hit me up. But I think probably one of the reasons that I am is, bro, because I just get lost in the gym. And one of my favorite parts of like training is after the workout, just sitting there. It's just such a.
It's a great feeling.
And you just sit there and like what happens, man. It's like what I'm getting at about being single. I'll be like, hey, I'm done at 6. Workout done at 6. I end up thinking I'm there 15 minutes, and it's like an hour and 15 minutes later.
You got no one you have to tap back in with.
Bro, it's happened so many times. But yeah, like that fellowship, that brotherhood.
Absolutely.
And I think that the other thing is like you probably never identified it, but you're 100% present.
Yeah, you have to be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not only do you have to be, I think that when you truly love it, you just are.
Yeah, that's true though.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You just get lost in the gym. You know what I mean?
Man,
you just get lost. You're not thinking about everything else.
Yeah, and when you love it, you be in the gym. I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
When you in the gym, because it resonates with me. There'll be sometimes I think I'm in the gym for an hour. I'm in the gym for 3, 4.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you kind of just get lost, and you can sleep there sometimes when you really love it.
Yeah.
And like that also is like I said, it's its own form of therapy. It's like you almost had your own personal relationship with the game, like. How you the amount of time you spend doing it and sacrifice you put into it, it walks with you, it goes with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just like, what YMCA was? Do you know what YMCA were y'all at in Dallas? Was it Duncanville or Dallas?
I think we was we was in Mansfield during this time.
I was in Mansfield, okay.
Yeah, we was in Mansfield during this time. So I can't remember what YMCA was, but it's funny because in my career I was always known for defense.
Right.
My whole career is known for defense.
Yeah.
Funny the first league I was ever in, I won MVP because of defense. Like literally, like I always was playing defense. So it's just funny that that kind of carried with me to college for real. But so yeah, that's my thing.
So let's pivot into that. Like your basketball career, you started off at Valor, and you were there at Valor 3 years.
At 3 years, yep.
And then I think for anybody that's from the athletic standpoint, you know what I think is really dope. Is that you had the courage to step outside your athletic comfort zone.
Absolutely.
I see the opposite so often, where it's just like, let me stay where it's safe, let me stay where I'm known, let me stay where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To the point where it compromises them from reaching their ultimate goal. You are a testament of, okay, you did this in Colorado, and I saw you play, and I thought you were really, really good, but I could see that you needed more to reach your potential.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I never trained you back then, but I wanted to train you because of that, but also the mental preparation.
Absolutely.
You know, for the next level. I think that sometimes in this state that we're in, when you're a really good player, you can kind of put it in autopilot. And then when it catches up with you when you go to college, like you said, you can't cheat the game.
You can't.
So it's going to show up. You know, so you transfer from Valor to Sunrise Christian, which for Sunrise Christian is like the creme de la creme of basketball.
Yeah, for sure.
Why did you decide to leave Colorado, your comfort zone, and go to Sunrise?
One thing I had to say I really enjoy, I really like about myself, and I think everybody should find things they like about themselves, right?
Yeah, compliment yourself for sure.
Absolutely. One thing I love about myself is I always have dreams bigger than myself. I've always dreamed bigger than myself. Like I never live in complacency because I always know there's more out there. You know what I'm saying? For me,
growth mindset.
You know what I'm saying? For me, my family's from Jamaica. Like they came here to give us an opportunity, so it's only right for me to take what they did and take it further.
Level up.
It has to be. You know what I'm saying? So that really helped, and also. I was well aware that I was getting closer to my ceiling in Colorado. Like you said, there's not a lot of hoopers who come from here. I think before me, and I might be wrong, but somebody told me before me, the only person who played in the ACC was like Reggie Jackson.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so it was like before me, when I went to Pittsburgh, it was Reggie Jackson. So it wasn't replicated a lot. And like I know everybody was getting scholarships to like CU or CSU or like something like things, but no one was getting like the Floridas, like the Dukes, like the, you know what I'm saying? Like just the different higher major schools, T-Tech or stuff like that. People were getting interest, but you had to be like the best player in the state, literally. Like while other people, you can be top 50 in their state and still get a look from them, right? So once I really started realizing that, I was like, I can't stay here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. I'm really good here. But no matter how good I am here, I won't be looked at unless I am the best person here. So I need to go somewhere where I'll be looked at for wherever I'm at, wherever I land. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my mindset was. It was that and the exposure. I knew that I had to play with the best people at this level in high school to even get closer to understand what college would be like. So I went to Sunrise, and Sunrise was one of the top ranked teams, man, to play against all the best players. And I needed that. I needed to see what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? How
much of an eye-opener was that going to Sunrise after being at a state like Colorado?
It smacked me. It smacked me. I call my mom every day at noon. Every day, call her, hey, mom, how you doing? Just checking in with you. Hope you're doing well. Because it was rough. It was not like anything I really expected it to be. Not to say I had expectation, but it blew it out the water. Like being one of the best players in the state or being known in the state and going somewhere you're not known, have to start from zero with people who are also hungry, who also are not known. Well, actually, no, some of them are known, some of them are ranked already, some of them have their name already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it shocked me.
Right.
It shocked me. And I had, at some point, and at Sunrise, I come to a crossroad where either I was going to step up to the plate and change my habits a little bit, or I was gonna fold. Like that's really what it was. But it really pushes you into that space where it's like you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
You know?
When you dig a little deeper, like what was the biggest kind of habit or mindset shift to go from being a really good player at Colorado to playing at Sunrise, where you're not only is the competition that you're playing against, because y'all playing a national schedule, you playing the Oak Hills, the Huntingtons, all those, but I mean every day. I would imagine that your practice was probably more intense than your toughest game here in the state of Colorado. So, like, what were the biggest things that you had to change, or you was gonna drown?
Man. One thing I like to say is, like, when you are part of a ranked team, every practice and every scrimmage, every game is a ranked game, right? So I'm playing ranked games every day. So something y'all see on TV where it's like Huntington Prep versus Findlay Prep, right? That was every day for us because we play against each other, right? And we that level. So with that being the case, I understood that I worked hard, but my work ethic had to change, right? I think before in Colorado, I worked really well in spurts. Like I had a trainer, so I work a couple of days a week, or I work, you know what I'm saying, good in spurts. But what being out there taught me was like, nah, if you want to keep up, you have to have a schedule. You have to really have a schedule, man. Like you have to make sure you're in here. And it's like, you don't have to have a great day every day, but you got to be in here every day. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to really kind of change that, or else you're not going to be able to keep up. Catch up even, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, there's people who ranked already, so they are already ahead of me. So for me, it's like I had to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think that that's not just a basketball thing, a Colorado thing. I think that that's like a lesson for life. When we talk about like the underdog and, you know, why we're here in the book and all that, is are you going to stay in the shallow? In the shallow pool, or are you going to go out there to the deep water where you might drown?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to stay where it's comfortable? I tell people all the time when I train, I said, did you come here to feel good, or did you come here to become good? Because, you know, you're going to have to compromise one to get the other. If you want to feel good, you're going to compromise becoming good.
Yep. You
want to become good, it's not going to always feel good. And you've got to be realistic about what it is that you want. And I think that's why you have to, one of the biggest things is, you know, I work with a lot of people in basketball here in the state, but again, this is bigger than that. This is like whatever you're doing. Why in the hell would you get directions or advice from somebody that's never been where you're trying to go?
It don't even make
that is wild
sense
to me.
Yeah, it don't make sense.
That is wild to me.
People do it all the time too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, this is the second evolution of me starting the basketball part of what I do, the basketball training. So there are a lot of people. I enjoy this competition, you know, because for me, I wanted to go back, have the Underdog book, and just use that as a curriculum to develop the mentality. But, bro, I went in the gym the other day, went to a tournament, and I'm talking, you know, to this coach and his players, and, you know, like to let them know I got some stuff going, I got some motion. And it's kind of like a no thank you, like, you know, but, you know, I'm working with my coach. No disrespect to your coach, but he didn't even play high school basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to go on a basketball rabbit hole tangent, but like, speaking of soccer, I was talking to was talking to a friend of mine that played soccer, and she's talking about club soccer.
Okay, yeah.
And she was. I asked her, I was like, how many when you get to like 7th, 8th grade, when you talk about club soccer, how many of the coaches didn't play in soccer? She started laughing. She's like, or didn't play in college at least. She started laughing. She's like, all of them, of course.
Yeah.
It's the same in basketball, right? I said, nah.
Not even close. Yeah, that's crazy about it. And I think you mentioned that in your book too. I think you mentioned a little bit of that in your book as well. But a lot of times in basketball, I feel like there's two things that happen, right? There's the coaches who want to feel good about their coaching, so they almost do the children or the kids a disservice. You know what I'm saying, by trying to out coach the next coach to try to teach the kid how to become a good player, right? So they training kids on like doing certain things, and it's like, but you are only going from your limited information, and kids will listen to it because that's people who feeding them. And the second part too is like also parents who are trying to live through their kids, right? Parents who try to live through their kids, and they almost hold them back because they're trying to make the kid another version of them. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Or get what they didn't
get. But again, you didn't get it. So how can you tell your son how to get it if you didn't get it? You get what I'm saying?
So, no, I see it every day.
Yeah.
I think there's another layer to that. A lot of parents have never been popular. They've never been recognized, you know, and for the good that they do. And now all of a sudden they have a kid that is really good. Now, in the world we live in now, if your kid is good enough in basketball, you're going to get followed on Twitter. You're going to get Twitter followers and stuff like that. So
for sure,
you've got this finally, and this, I'm sure a lot of parents aren't aware of it, because if they are, they probably be like, dang, I need to do something with that. But so they're blinded by that. And so they're making decisions based on that. Fame is intoxicating.
Oh yeah, and you can find fame in small doses. Like, you don't have to be on TV necessarily, or in the NBA or in these NFL, whatever, to have big fame. You can have local fame, like people knowing you locally. That can do a little bit for you. You can have the collegiate level. Now, when I went to Pittsburgh, that was a different monster. Like, people knowing my name before I even introduced myself was different for me. Like, that was never happened before in my life. And like, it can really change you, especially even your family, like you said, like, because your family see it. Like, they come to a game, people, Kham Davis, hey, bro, good game. And your people watching, and they're like, oh no, you're important. So that means by association, I'm important. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was talking to this kid yesterday, and just managing his circle. Just talking to him about managing his circle. And, you know, I think that, you know, I told him, I said, everybody that supports you can't influence you. And I think sometimes for athletes, it's when you're in high school, it's a tough space to be in, because it puts tension on your relationships. Like, with a lot of times it's the dad, right? Yeah. Because when you're 5th grade, your dad can help you navigate athletically. Sometimes it's hard for that dad to let go of that.
You got to. And
it's just like to be like, okay, I'm a supporter now. I'm no longer influencer as it relates to this, because this is out of my space. And I see a lot of, unfortunately, I was talking to this kid I trained, Colin Smith, and shout out Lee, man, his mom and dad, they are amazing. I said, Colin, bro, you need to thank your parents. I said, because I see a lot of parents fumbling their kids' bags
all the time
in athletics because of all the things that we said. You know what I mean? And it's just like empowering a kid to be like, yeah, like, you can support me, but like, I got to get with somebody that's been where I'm trying to go, that I trust, and it's gonna shoot me straight. And prepare me every step of the way. Like, you in a sense, that's what you did at Sunrise. You know what I mean? Like, they put out NBA players, they put out high major players, so they have a blueprint. This is what your Tuesday, August the 5th should look like. August the 6th. And look what happened. You know, like, would you have went to Pittsburgh had you not went to Sunrise?
I don't know. No, I don't think that's at all. And it's funny because there's two parts of that, right? There's a part of the parent, the part of the kid, right? My mom also used to train with me. When I was younger, when I was in middle school, she used to be on the court with me playing defense. She played in high school too. She played a little bit in college. So she was on the court with me. But she realized as time went on, oh no, I can't I'm not gonna be able to keep up with him now. I had to kind of release that to somebody else. So at every level, like high school, she released me to my high school coaches, my AAU coaches. And then when we got to the point where it's like, okay, well, we need to get more. Okay, let's go out of state now. Now we have to go and find where the exposure is at. We got to find where these top major schools at. Where I got to Sunrise, where I got to see and got exposed. I think exposure is everything, right? I got exposed to high major basketball. I got exposed to people like, because I think Buddy Hield went to Sunrise, right? So like they had their own like Bohemian culture there. Like that was like a thing. It was like they had people that went through Sunrise that did it. You know what I'm saying? So when they talking to you, oh, that's not a good rep. That rep was lazy. Like that means something. You know what I'm saying? Like people won't tell you that, but like coming from them, it was like, oh no, you've seen people in the league do it, so you know this is what it's supposed to look like.
You so Buddy, like, are you guys from the same area? You and Buddy Hield?
No, Buddy Hield. Buddy Hill's from the Bahamas. He's Caribbean, but I'm from Jamaica.
Okay.
I'm from Jamaican. Yep. But they had their own, like, because of Buddy Hield, they had Bohemians coming through there a bunch.
Yeah. Like I was able to help Buddy train during COVID.
Okay, that's tough. Yeah.
Man, he's cold.
Yeah,
like I think people don't realize that, bro. When you see an NBA, when you're able to be around an NBA player like that. And then you see how good they are. Like in your mind, you like, dude, this got to be one of the 10 best players in the league.
I've ever seen. Yeah.
And then you just go watch, and not Buddy. You know, he's a great player. You know, but it just goes to show that like Buddy's never been an All-Star. And so to see, you know, like how good you have to be,
man,
to be one of the world's best players. People have no idea.
It's crazy. Like I said, Sunrise will expose me.
Yeah.
Right? So before our season, we went and scrimmaged Wichita State. At the time, they had Fred there. Fred VanVleet was still there. Right. So that was my real exposure to even college. Right. So we scrimmaged against Fred. When I tell you, I've never seen a bucket that looked so effortless. At his size, too small, it wasn't that big. But he just made basketball look so easy.
They make it look easy, that they make you think it's easy.
And when you do it, it don't look the same. You like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? He did boom, boom, boom. You feel me? And it really shines a light on like how much time you put into it. Like they stand out so much, even at the collegiate level, that it really humbles you. Like you really have to be like, nah, like these people are amazing. Like they really earn their stripes. It's like a different level.
Yeah. So let's pivot to you. So you went to Sunrise, then you went to the post-grad, then you went to Pitt.
Yep.
Like, first of all, congratulations going to Pitt, being a high major player.
Absolutely.
And being a high major player from a state like Colorado. You know, flowers are deserved for that.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, what was that like? What stands out to you? What are the things that are most cherishing to you about those 2 years, or anything, any nuggets that you discovered, any self-discoveries that would help our audience, or anything like that from your 2 years at Pitt, the highest level, playing at Duke, Florida State, North Carolina, and all of them?
All of it. Shoot, a couple nuggets is hard, right?
Yeah.
Because you learn so much. You got to be a sponge, really. Like as soon as you touch on campus, you a sponge.
Yeah.
Right? Because even from Sunrise and being exposed to that to Pitt was even a jump.
For sure.
Like, wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? So nuggets I can give to people. You would never be the best person in the room. So always keep working. Like if you think that you're good enough to get complacent, bro, you've lost. Like you've lost, because every day, even your own teammates will outwork you. You know what I'm saying? And while we're on the team together, we are still hooping. Like we are hoopers. Like we're hoopers first. So I'm gonna get. You gotta make sure you get to yours. Like make sure you get your stuff done. I don't care if you go and have fun and stuff after. But if you are not taken care of first, everything else should not matter. That's like the first thing I want to say. You know what I'm saying? Like make sure you get your work in always, right? Because when you get to conference play and you start playing against other people, it really puts in perspective. Because like when you get to high major schools, we're all really good players. Yeah. Most people at high major schools, we're standout players in most states. Like so we're gonna be good off rip. We'll beat most mid-major teams just off that. Yeah. When you get to conference play, is when you like, nah, these people are freaks. Like it's not even like I've seen Lonnie Walker catch a tip dunk on my big man. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was one of those things where like you can see him on these hoop mixtapes or whatever, but when you see it in real life, you're like, no, he's a freak. Like, bro really jumped over a 6'9", 6'10" person's back casually. Like, you know what I'm saying? It puts in perspective that no matter where you think you are, there's always another level. Like, there's always another level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What was Who's the most impressive player you played against at Pitt?
Okay, that's hard, right? I'll tell you my personal one, because I have my own personal experience with a specific player that I was like, nah, he's cold. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'll also tell you, like, there's a cool ones I've been through, right? Like, playing against Zion was cool.
Yeah.
Zion was a cool one, for sure. Marvin Bagley was a cool one. The Virginia team, DeAndre Hunter,
yeah,
that was a cool one. He's very solid. It's very solid. It doesn't do stuff wrong, like, for real. You know what I'm saying? That Virginia team, I think they won a championship my first year, or that's close to it. But for me personally, what's his name? Jerome Robinson. Played at Boston College. Yo, so this story. So I was a defensive player on my team, right? So whenever we had a best player, I guarded him. We played Virginia. I guarded Kyle Guy. You know what I'm saying? When we played against whoever we played against, I was mostly gonna. If we played man, Cam is you. You know what I'm saying? Like we played against Farrell. He's at Notre Dame at the time. He was a point guard. I guarded him full court, right? So that was my job. So Boston College, we was running the zone for a little while, right? So Jerome Robinson was playing in the middle of the zone. He was a shooting guard, but he was playing in the middle of the zone. He's killing us. Had like 17 in the middle of the zone. So my coach comes to us at timeout and is like, all right, like we switching the man. Cam, you got him. Like, it's your turn. Like, you got him. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like it's my turn. I'm never gonna shy away from that. Like you got to show me. That's my mentality. You got to show me, right? Man, I've never seen a guy like to where you take all his options away and he still find a bucket. And talk to you like he planned it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was one of those things where like between cross, cut him off. Okay, pull back, in and out. Oh, pull back, step back, contested, shoot, sneak, get him out the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trade it, get him out the game.
Right.
And you looking at your coach, and your coach looking back at you like, I don't know what else you could have done. It was one of those. So Jerome Robinson was like, Boston College was not a good team at all during those years, but he was like he was one person I gave him his flowers. I was like, no, you're a bucket. That's my welcome to the ACC moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I gave him his flowers because he was nice.
Stallings, that's your coach?
Yeah, Kevin Stallings.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stallings, man.
So, what is that mentality like? You know, this is going down memory lane, but I think that even that, like I think one of the reasons I wrote Underdog was to support athletes, but also take the athletic mentality and support competitors, whatever that competition is, and playing in what is that like to conference play at a high major conference? A lot of people don't understand what that's like.
Yeah.
But if you can weather that storm in a competitively mature way and take that, you'll be and apply that to the rest of your life, because it's no days off.
Yeah.
You playing Duke on Tuesday, you playing North Carolina on Wednesday, then you go play Louisville on Big Monday.
Yeah, for sure.
And you have to be able to, you got to be able to ride the wave, because it's so sporadic. You can be up one day, and then 2 weeks later you feel like you're down in the dumps. But nobody's going to feel sorry for you, because if you don't know how to get yourself up, and get ready, and you're going to get embarrassed. Oh, yeah. So what was your mentality like? How were you able to navigate that and stay kind of like competitively even keel and overcome the highs and the lows?
So you kind of have to release a lot. Like as soon as the game's over, I always give myself like, okay, you have until tonight. But at 11 p.m. tonight, we dashing this. It's to the next one. You kind of have to have that, like you said, and like I say names that people will know, so they understand like on a day-to-day basis. Like, you have to always be ready, right? So let's put it this way: I'll play against Grayson Allen, Marvin Bagley, that team that had that year. One day, we go to North Carolina and play against Cam Johnson, Theo Pinson, right? Then we go to what's another one? Virginia, play against DeAndre Hunter. Then we go to, so you're playing against NBA players every night. So it's like the mentality NBA players have to have. You kind of have to adopt that really early, especially in college, when you have that environment where it's like, as much as I wanted to win this game, it can't matter tomorrow, or else we'll get beat by 30. And my freshman year, we learned that we had 8-9 freshmen. We didn't win a conference game, right? We had 8-9 freshmen, so we're all immature, we're all emotional, we're all like a lot of different things. We don't know what we expect. So getting beat by Duke was hurtful, and then we lose to Boston College by 2 in a game we should have won, because we still mad about losing to Duke when we should have just let that go. You know what I'm saying? If we let that go, it's a whole other game, a whole other environment. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to kind of have short-term memory.
Yeah. Spencer Johnson, he wrote a book, and he says in the book, learn, let go, move on.
Absolutely.
Learn, let go, move on. I tell that to basketball athletes all the time. Once you learn, you have to learn the lesson, then you throw it away and move on. Most people do one of the things, they learn a lesson, but they still dwell.
Yes.
And that affects you. Or they don't learn a lesson and they move on without learning a lesson. And you have to have that right when you're competing at a high level.
Absolutely.
Because if you dwell, you beat before you start. You know what I'm saying? If you don't learn a lesson, it's gonna be the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
you'll relearn the lesson until you get it.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt. So you go from there, and then you go to Weber State, and first of all, you started the majority of your games your freshman year, right?
I did. Yeah, most of my games freshman year I started. I earned that right. That's what. So. Yeah, like I said,
starting as a freshman in the ACC.
Man, special moments. I ain't gonna lie, special moments.
Yeah.
I smile about it, cheese about it, right?
You should. You earned that.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, I've always been an underdog. So when I got to Pittsburgh, they told me, you were the last name on our roster. Like, you were the last scholarship we gave out. Everything you get, you got to earn, right? So I came in with the expectation, like, listen, I'm not even supposed to be here, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, compared to like people who were signed for years or whatever else, my scholarship was last minute. So they was like, really, like, this is, you have to earn everything. And defense was the thing that was ready at that moment, was defense. So once they started seeing the value I had in defense and how much, like, impact I had, it was like, nah, if we don't have Khameron on the court, the plus minuses is down. Like, they started realizing that it was impactful. So glory to God, right? I get the opportunity because now we're playing against people who we need defense. Like, these people, he's going to the league if we don't stop him. You know what I'm saying? He'll have 45 if you don't stop him.
Yeah.
So that's when it became like more of a necessity to have me in some games where it was like, when they have certain players, it was like, hey, Cam, we need you here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that was amazing. And the things you'll see like in Khameron Fieldhouse or like, you know, in North Carolina is like the craziest one because the sound goes straight up and goes straight right down.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you get what I'm saying? So like you kind of experience just different games, man. Like people talking to you, crowd talking to you. Louisville, there was a little bit racist in Louisville, but but you get to see a whole nother world. It's really its own experience for real.
Yeah. So like they can't see like your hand. You got a big scar on your left hand, man. Like tell me about that scar.
Yeah, so I got in a car accident. So my second year of school, so my first year of school of transferring, I went to Weber State. I played kind of on an injury. I dislocated my knee while I was in high school, and it kind of flared back up my second year, right? So I was supposed to get surgery, but COVID hit, so I wasn't able to get surgery. But before I went back to school for my senior year, I was in a rush to get back. I wanted to get that work in, obviously, because I had to get some rehab. I had to get the work in. So I was driving back to school. And when I went back to school, I was 30 minutes away from my campus, and my car had rolled over. I tried to dodge something in the middle of the road, and my car, when I swerved back, it lost control. And I rolling 4 to 5 times. So the person behind me had said, because I had no memory of it, right? But I had rolled over a couple of times, and I messed up all the tendons in my hand. So I don't know if they can see this. I might go a little closer, but the tendons in my hands were all ruptured. They had to reconfigure it and put it back. The middle finger, they had to put a pin in it because the top part of my middle finger was completely severed. In terms, they had to reattach that part, right? But my hand was, the tendons in my hand were messed up. It went out the window when my car was rolling over, and it got jacked up from it. And also I got incisions in my head in 3 different spots where I have stitches now, but I had brain damage and lost functionality in my left hand for a little
while. So you lucky to be alive?
Lucky. The doctor said I was inches away from having my head completely cut in half. Like, so it was like, by the grace of God, for real.
So I mean, there's so many ways I want to go in exploring that. The first thing is basketball. How did it affect the remainder of your basketball life?
It became pretty clear when my season started that I wasn't going to be able to continue to play, at least not that year. I may have been able to try to salvage it if I tried to go overseas or something. By that point, I lost my last year. And when the season started, I couldn't close my hand past here. Like so it's one of those things where, in hindsight, right, in the moment, I'm like, I can still play, I can still do stuff, but in hindsight, if I played and had re-injured, I could have lost my hand forever, right? So it was one of those things where I kind of realized that during that time period, my career may have been coming to a close. Yeah.
How were you able to overcome that? You know, I see you, and again, that was a little foreshadowing earlier. You don't look like what you've been through.
Right.
So, you know, you've always been somebody that I respect. And even so, you know, how this came about, this episode, I'm walking past my coffee shop, said, "What's up?" Sat down. And within 5 minutes, I was like, man, hearing your story, I was like, man, I want to have this on podcast. You had a glow about you. You had a joy about you. You wouldn't think that you were an athlete that, you know, abruptly and violently had your basketball experience cut short. So how are you able to overcome the grief and any depression, post-career depression, and be the guy that I saw at the coffee shop, just high on life, just with this amazing, joyful energy?
Right. Man. Shadow work, I'll say that. Shadow work, so working on yourself. It was hard my last year. I think I got really depressed my senior year because obviously I didn't play. I couldn't really play. So I was gaming a lot at the time, was drinking a lot, got into substances a little bit. And I was really just trying to survive. I really didn't know where to go. Thought about streaming for a little bit, so I kind of had a little bit of experience with making YouTube videos, a little bit, very tiny, and I just needed opportunity. I think even in the simple things we do, you can find opportunity. So, like I said, I had a little bit of experience of editing videos, and at the time, my mom had a company, and she wanted to see if I knew someone who could edit a video for her because she had a clip from something. And I was like, well, I have a little bit of experience. If you send it to me, I can put a video together for you, right? I did. Crappy video, terrible video, right? But it kind of opened my eyes to there being another way of having a future for myself. So I got into editing. I started learning more about editing, got into Premiere and the Creative Cloud, Adobe Creative Cloud. And I started editing. So when I came home, I was doing that for her. I was using my phone at first, and I was making videos from my phone, and just editing it in a way that was just like a little bit more appealing. Until one day, I have a cousin who is one of the owners at a company called Be a Good Person. I know you know them, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's a clothing brand. And when I went in there, I told him I edited a little bit. And one day he was like, gave me some clips and was like, here, edit these. Like, let me see what you can do. And I went in there, I was masking and I was doing just different tricks that I knew. I was just throwing stuff together. And at the time when I did that, he came to me, he was like, yo, like, we have degrees in what we do. Like, we do photography or different things. And no one in here can mask and do what you do. Like, if I brought you in here and taught you how to use a camera, which you run our social media for us, and that kind of opened the door. So like all of it kind of started from streaming, like playing video games. Like and then it opened the door for me to find a new interest, and the rest is history for real. I got good at it, got good at branding, and then now I do it for my family and I do it for my own business. And
you're passionate about it.
Yep, I love it.
You love it.
Yeah.
You know, that's just such an amazing thing that you were searching for something. I don't know if you've we'll get into my book, but have you read the chapter "Care How You Cope" yet? I don't think you have.
Okay, I don't know. Is that one of the last ones?
I think it might be. Okay. I don't remember the order, but I talk about that. Like when you sign up to be an aggressive competitor, life is gonna life.
Absolutely.
And so because of that, you'd be best served to establish healthy coping, because you don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. Obviously, nobody could think like what happened to you. Yeah. And so you know, it sounds like at first, like we all do, you like most of us do, it was maybe some unhealthy coping, and fortunately, organically, you found something that became healthy coping, and it went from coping to you discovered how to continue on your competitive journey and find that. So I just think that's just amazingly inspirational. Yeah. You know what I mean? To me, like, I'm a positive person, but I want to be a positive realist where it's not like just pie in the sky. Yeah. You know, and that's why, like, having you come on here and talk about your story, how do you overcome that? How were you able to? So many people get in your situation and they go the other way. Absolutely. You know what I mean? See it all the time, yeah. And you didn't. So, like, to me, of all the things that we talked about, to me, that is the most inspirational and the thing that I respect the most. But let's even dig a little deeper. What's up? You know, like, you not only had a wreck that ended your career, but, you know, you talk about brain damage and all those things. You have memory loss, you have brain damage and all that. And you hadn't let it stop you. Nah, so man, that could be its own episode. But so yeah, I had memory loss. So short-term memory was a problem for me for a long time, right? The doctors told me that I should have my memory function back within, was it 5 or 6 months?
And years later, even now, even while reading your book, I'll get memory that'll come back. Memory will come back to me, right? But short-term memory was a problem, so I couldn't finish school. I didn't finish 2 schools, so I didn't finish my last year, my senior year. I couldn't get the curriculum done. I couldn't focus, or I couldn't remember. And I tried to go back to school. Once I realized I wanted to do editing, I tried to go to film school. Fun fact, no one really know this, but I tried to go to film school. Didn't last a semester. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it took me longer to learn. Like the same things that take somebody to learn like an hour to learn, take me 3 or to 4 times as much if I retained it. Because the risk I ran was like, if I didn't retain it the next day, I had to relearn it. You know what I'm saying? So it became a thing to where I just had to really dig deep, man, and kind of find motivation and different purpose behind it, what I was doing, to kind of relearn how to be a normal person again in our reality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
were you ever angry or feel like you got dealt a bad hand and never had like a why me?
Yeah, I think there's 2 ways you can go in this, right? I mean, you go through all of it during your journey. I'm not gonna sit here and say I was never angry, because like you for sure mad at the world sometimes. Like sometimes you look at a guy like, man, like I had my career, I was doing something. I could be making money overseas, I could be in the league, I could be somewhere so different right now, but I had what I was gonna do figured out. You know what I'm saying? Restarting just seems like terrible. So you go through different stages, anger, I would say depression a little bit. Like you kind of go through these different waves of emotions that, you know, are not stable. And I think those are the moments where you have to really cling into the hope that you have. Like I think the one thing about me, like I said, it's a couple of things I like about myself. My dreams have always been bigger than myself. That's 1. And 2 is I cling to hope. If I can find hope in a situation, it's a small
just
bit
a little
of hope.
bit.
Yeah, that's all you need. It's a little bit. It's a window of opportunity. I'll bet all my cards in that window. You know what I'm saying? And that sometimes you have to live that way, because if you don't, like you said, you go the opposite direction, where you go like, and you let it take you over.
Was there ever a time where you didn't even have that little bit of hope that you needed?
Oh, absolutely. So another part. So when I first got home, like I said, I was still relearning my cognitive abilities, like remembering things. So I lived, my mom has a home in Deer Trail, Colorado. So I don't know if you know what that is. That's like an hour and a half from here. That's like an hour away. So we live like in the boonies, right? Like, so that's where she was living at the time. So I used to commute an hour and a half, hour, 15 minutes to work if I went to work. At the time, she gave me a grace period to where all I did was stay in that place and do push-ups and learn, because I needed time to learn. So all I could do was get the weight vest on, do my 200 push-ups, and watch YouTube videos, read books, audio books. Like that's why I really taught myself how to learn. Like I had to, because if I didn't, then I'll just be here. I'll be a potato. So that was the time space where I didn't see a way out, because I didn't have anything yet. I was still living. I was being provided for. My mom, she gave me the room to do that. But at the time, I didn't have enough talent in anything to really see a way out. I was really just kind of shooting in the dark, for real.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think that's like powerful to me, is just because you don't see a way, like what do you do when you get to those moments in life where you don't see a way out?
Take a step anyways.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that when you talk about like what makes your story so inspirational is that even when you see a way out, like you said, you kept moving. And I think, to me, I was going to ask you, like, what advice do you have for somebody, because you've been through this amazing abrupt adversity and came out on the other side. But to me, you can add to it, but I think it's you know, you may get to a point in your journey where you can't see the next step, where you can't see your way out. And I think that you're a living testament, you know, that doesn't mean there isn't a way out. I think that everybody that's been on that journey feels like that. And developing something about you internally that even when you get to that space, you have this the support system and the internal makeup to keep fighting. What do you think? Yeah, man, that's exactly what it is for real. It's like you have to, I would say some motion is better than no motion, right? A lot of times people use the word motion and the day to day, like, oh, I got motion. But like, you know, sometimes motion is waking up and making your bed. Like, I think people they add the mental health part of it, right? You can't really get nowhere until this is good.
right? Sometimes the motion you need is just rebuilding this good habits, like just clean your room, bro. Just make your bed. Just watch a video, read a chapter of a book. You know what I'm saying? I always would say some motion is better than no motion, because even when you can't see anything, you're heading somewhere, right? And that's like the biggest testament to it, is like, as long as you're doing something, you will arrive at a destination, and that's like the biggest thing.
Appreciate you popping out, man. Like, I'm really excited. I really believe that it's going to serve and inspire somebody. But man, I also want to thank you because you took the time to read my book.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So like, I'm interested to hear, like, how did that hit you? What do you think about the book, or wherever, like, what do you think about it?
Yeah, congratulations on writing the book and finishing the book and everything you've done.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
it's big because it helped people. Yeah, you said this is inspirational, and that's what I really get from the book itself. Yeah, it is a book that inspires. Yeah, I will say that. Wherever level you're at, it inspired me. I don't even play sport no more, right? Yeah. But it reaches you where you're at, and because these lessons are universal. Yeah. Like I said, there's a chapter in the book where you talk about Brittany, who I think is your sister, right? Yeah. And her journey, not necessarily in a sport, but it's universal, right? Somebody being in environments that people try to box you, and box your creativity, box your whatever you got going for you, your individuality, what makes you you in the sport or in your career, and how to navigate that. And man, that hit me where I'm at, right? Like I said, I made my career out of nothing. I learned everything self-taught, whatever. And it's like, how do you get that confidence in yourself that you still know what you're talking about? Your vision is bigger than somebody else's, or bigger than yourself. And the book gave you that, man. Like, hearing how she resolved her problem, and like the opportunity you was able to give her to do a photography gig. Yeah, you just need one yes. You said that in your book, right? Sometimes you just need one yes, and man, that reached me where I'm at today. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I have all this knowledge, all this stuff I've acquired. Yeah, and I'm waiting for my one yes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, but knowing that a yes is all I need. Right. His motivation.
Yeah, no, like Brittany, the one you're talking about is talking about sometimes in life, impatience is legitimized. Yep. Because, and what I was saying is that sometimes people will gaslight you to wait longer than you need to by telling you to be patient. And there are times in life where you have to be patient. But I think as you navigate through your competitive journey, and I like how you picked up on that. This book is one, I think it's not an autobiography. You know what I mean? I don't, that ain't my style. It's a book. It's a inspirational, affirmational, almost a Bible for underdogs, so to speak. Something they can go to give them life and support, and encouragement, and all that. Well, yeah, I think that sometimes you got to have the discernment to realize, okay, like I think Nip say in dedication, I'm done waiting. Yeah. Like, I'm done. Like, nah, like it's my time. Yeah. And when you know it's your time, you gotta sometimes you gotta put pressure on people. And Brittany is my sister is an amazing content creator. Matter of fact, I'm wearing her shorts right now. I was wearing a hoodie, but it got hot in here. Yeah. But man, like, her story is so inspirational. So what happened, Brittany always dreamed of being, she always dreamed of being a content creator at a high major college, because she loves college football and just the spirit of high level athletics. So she went to one of those schools. They hired her to be a content creator, but then they hired her as a content creator, and they were Brittany, she has an amazing, vibrant personality. Yeah. And people gravitate towards her. So insecure people on that staff, they got threatened by the connection she had with people. Yeah. And then they tried to put a box on her creativity. They hired her to be creative, but the more creative she was, attacked their insecurities, and they tried to put a box on her. And so she's a million miles away from home in this small town, and she can't live in her purpose. She can't live in her gifts. And Brittany, she was depressed, she was crushed out of that, but it was the best thing that could happen to her that she didn't go back there. And she stayed in her room for like 2 weeks and didn't come out, because you pour your heart and soul into something, right? And you get, not only does it not work, it doesn't work because you're competent. Your competency attacked somebody that was a superior. Just because you're superior with title, deep down, some of the people that have a superior title, they feel inferior to you because of your talent and your ability and your aura when you walk into the room. That's what happened to Brittany, and she ended up, I hit up a buddy of mine, Tyler Ralph.
Okay, yeah.
Tyler Ruff is not only an amazing trainer, he's an amazing man, and this story proves it. So I was like, yo, my sister is an amazing photographer. Can she come shoot one of your workouts? And he hit her up, and she came and shot one of his workouts. And then while that was happening, Buddy Hield was doing a strength workout. She went to work out with him, shoot one of his workouts, and then she got comfortable and shot one of mine with Buddy Hield. And then the Sacramento Kings, who he was playing for, posted her picture. And after that, everybody in the city wanted her to shoot the pictures. And then after that, she got her swag back and hasn't looked back. She went from that to, man, she had her own tournament.
Yeah, that's hard.
Like, she had her own, her brand is Foreverland.
Yeah.
She had a Foreverland tournament, and bro, she became such a boss that she created this iconic hoodie that everybody in Dallas was going crazy. And then what happened, every high school team wanted her to customize for their team. And you go around the city of Dallas, the basketball capital of the world, and they were warming up.
Wow.
And her, so like, but that never would have happened if she would have just like stayed in that box. She didn't know where she was gonna go, but she was like, I'm done waiting. You know, like, my creativity can't wait anymore. And she stood on business. I say to people, sometimes when you stand on business, you got to stand alone. She was courageous enough to stand alone and just believe in herself. And now she's just doing it. Both of my books, the majority of the pictures are hers.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough. It's funny because one of the things that really stand out to me about the story too is like, sometimes people are afraid of your light, right? So when you come to a spot and you shine a certain way and you glow, and people and everybody notices it, right? It's almost evidential when you walk into the room. People try to box that light, and it could be your teammates, your coaches, your environment in general. People try to box that light, and it can't be boxed. It shouldn't be boxed, because you won't be able to do amazing things with it. And I think one of the testaments to it is like, you have to be tired of being patient. Like, once you really are tired of it, like, nah, like, I'm done. Like, y'all been telling me to wait. But nah, I have to leave here. I have to get out of here. And I think that's where your blessing lies. Is when you know you're tired. When you're tired of it, that's your sign. Realistically, that's your sign to get to do something else.
Well, I love and I think that, you know, there's such, you have to be so mature to take that, because there are times when you have to wait your turn. You have to, but then there are other times where it's just like, nah, my time here is done. And I love that. For me, you know, being a black man, I love the beginning of that chapter where I talk about, you know, Martin Luther King. That's where it came from. He said, you know, like, black people, like, we can't be patient no more. Like, we need change now.
Absolutely.
You know, or, you know, talking about, you know, just people throughout black history that stood up and be like, patient, this ain't got nothing to do with patience. It's time for change. So
but it's funny because because they say you do have to have a little maturity to understand what times to be patient and what time not to be. But the people who are brave enough to know when not to be patient are the movers and shakers. Like you said, those are people who really do make the things happen, because they're understanding of okay, this is not the moment to be patient anymore. Like, nah, we got to go. Like, we got something to do. And that's what people start moving stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I like how you said, so in your description, the book is
inspirational, motivational, for sure. And it hits so many layers. Like, another chapter I like the Eric Garcia chapter, right? The FOMO. It's about fear of missing out, right? A lot of people, even me, you know what I'm saying? Like, we live in a world of social media, so we see people doing things on a day-to-day basis. Like, oh, bro, this guy's doing this and this guy's doing that, and it's like, I want to be involved. I want to be there. You know what I'm saying? And even when you see your peers having fun, like, oh, these people, like, on the weekend, I'm working out, I'm doing this, I'm sacrificing my weekend, and they having fun, they drinking, they partying, they doing this. Oh, he's on a yacht. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see everybody living life around you on this platform, and it's not always real life. It's not always, and not only that, they don't have the same vision you got. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to make the same sacrifices and become the same person to get the things that you'll get, right? And man, this book has some knowledge in it, because that was me a year ago. Like, seeing my friends, like I said, my career changed. My friends' careers didn't change. All of them are playing overseas still. All of them are playing somewhere else. And I'm sitting here like, I ain't get to a bag yet. My friends still making money. I ain't seen it. I had to restart. And like that fear of missing out can really mess with your mental health. And yeah, for real.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. You're talking about the chapter, I think it's chapter 4. It's Eric Garcia, a man that I trained him since he was young, and like he was at a competitive crossroads, and that's what you're saying, where we're all at. And it's harder now because of social media. I think for me, when I wrote this book, I was conscious and frequently mentioned the influence that social media has and how it can distract you, how it could mess up your focus. So I consider myself a perspective coach.
Yeah.
And in that moment, that's what I did for Eric, and I hope that anybody that reads that what happened, we were working out, and he had a breakdown.
Yeah.
Had a breakdown because he was missing out on the summer.
Yeah.
Everybody's outside.
Yeah.
He inside.
Facts.
Checking Snap, people is lit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The pool parties and vacations, the beach.
Man. Yeah.
And he in the gym and with me yelling at him.
Yeah.
And he just said, man, I just feel like I'm missing out. Like, I just want to be a normal kid. And so it's the first and only time, like, I just said, man, all right, we ain't gonna work out. We went to Papados. Like him, Josh, Drake, I used to always take them to Papados.
Yeah, shout out to homies.
And man, when we go to Papados, it's just that they order energy be different when I'm paying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
work,
saying?
right?
We getting appetizers. We get multiple. We get dessert.
Okay, we get double entrees.
So he did all that, but as we talked, I just heard him, listened to him. I think sometimes you need to listen to people.
Yeah.
Just like hear them so they can feel understood. And I was just like, I just asked him questions. I empowered him to just have the perspective himself. I said, you want to be a normal kid. I said, do normal kids play Division I basketball? Do normal kids start as a freshman? Like, are you sure you want to be a normal kid? If you want to be a normal kid, go do that. I said, you're afraid of missing out. That's what you said. But I said, what are you afraid of missing out more? Are you afraid of missing out on the party, on a vacation? Are you afraid of missing out on your potential as a basketball player, of being a college basketball player, starting as a freshman, being a professional basketball player? And he made the choice that I am afraid of missing out on that. So if you're afraid of missing out on that, this is an investment.
Yeah.
All you're doing is just almost the same way we invest our money. You're investing your talent, and you're going to get a return on that. And sure enough, he's a Hall of Famer. He played overseas and reached his dreams.
Yeah.
And I just think that so many people need to just take a step back and really determine what they're missing out on, and just give up on that short term, just make a short-term sacrifice to have a long-term reward.
Absolutely. And like you said, you were a perspective coach in that moment, right? Like I think sometimes we think it's one thing and it's really something else. Like, I'm missing out on all this fun. And it's like, no, you're afraid to miss out on not, if you have fun, not being able to achieve your dream.
For sure.
Right? And I think a lot of times what I learned is that when you're a dreamer or when you have a goal, you have to align yourself with the person that is required to achieve that goal, right? So it kind of requires you to take yourself out of that mindset of like, oh, I want to go have fun, I want to go do these things. And it's like, no, if this is what I want, what would that person be doing right now? You know what I'm saying? He'll be in the gym instead of being at the party. He'll be invested in himself. That's how you align with that person instead of aligning with what everybody else is doing. And it's powerful. Like being able to give a person that perspective, like you said, empower him to find it is everything. Yeah.
And I think it's important when you work with people, because this is something that you have to live with. I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But I just want to give you the competitive clarity to make the decision that your true self, wants to make. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
That's powerful. That's kudos to you, man. Like this. I wish I worked with you a little bit more when I was younger too. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, I can work with you now. Like your most impactful competitions are ahead of you. So.
Oh, absolutely, and you have impacted me. Like I said, I read your book, or at least most of it, 80% of it, right? And I've gotten value out of that. Like it's gotten me motivated to really own who I've been today, the new person I've created myself to be. You know what I'm saying? And like that's a testament to just the power in that book in itself is like it really is motivational. Ain't no way is it book, not say it's not meant for me, right? Because it's meant for anybody, but in no way do I take these sports principles and can relate them to my personal life today and be like, nah, like that's me. Like I needed that. Like that helped me. Man, it's powerful.
Yeah, let me ask you this. You know, so like I wrote my book from a reader's perspective. I'm interested to see, you know, there are two things. I wrote my book to engage people that don't normally read books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that reading is an exercise just like writing is one. And if you don't read a lot, then your attention span is, you know, quickly gone. So I wrote the book in a way there's 31 relatable stories. There's the cultured picture. Like I feel like you can feel the energy of the picture, and then the lemon drops, which a lot of people say that they enjoy. And then I also wrote it in a way where if you don't have, for people that are really active that want to read but they don't have the time to commit to like reading, you can read this book as you can come and go and read it one here, one there. You don't have to read it in order, but it can fit a chaotic lifestyle. Did you pick up on that as you read it?
Absolutely. So for me, I think it really caters to two different types of people, like you said, people who are too busy and people who don't really like necessarily enjoy reading that much. And the reason why it caters to both of them, and I guess I'll talk about my experience first. For me, I just do a lot of stuff.
Right. So
sitting down and reading is hard. So I do a lot of audiobooks, right? But it was an easy enough read and fluid enough read to where I was able to knock out like 150 pages in one day, really.
Right.
And like that sounds like a lot, right? But just the way how that book flows and how when you're in it, you invest a couple of hours even, and you'll get through and you get enough lessons in it to where it's powerful. And the other part to that too is like you said, you can start at any chapter. Each chapter is its own lesson. I really feel like it's a case study. Like when you really look at it, it's like case by case. You know what I'm saying? Like these are different experiences. And if you didn't like reading, bro, you can read the book for 10 minutes, get 3 chapters in, and get value from each one of those chapters. You know what I'm saying? Like and then put it away and then take it back out again. Like knock out maybe another 2, another 3, maybe 4 that day. You know what I'm saying? And get value from each of them. It's one of those things where like it works with your timing.
You know, it's funny. I almost don't want people to read it in one setting. Because I feel like I want I would, if I had to pick between reading it quick or just reading, but I want that lesson, whatever, to like really soak in.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just like, okay, then move to the next one. But I do think that it's a book that, even my first book was like that, where people would read it, you know, they would even almost be like, all right, I'm gonna read one, and then next thing you know, they've read 50 pages. But then they come back to it when they need that specific lesson. And even with this one of the things I like, I don't know if you saw on the title, like I have the contents of like what it is. So like this one is it's mental health, encouragement.
I like that part too. It told you what you're gonna get from it, like motivation, inspiration. Like it like labeled it for you.
So that way, when I call it an emotion and mental specific book. Whatever emotion you need to be served, or whatever you need to be served mentally. Do you need encouragement? Do you need to be challenged? Do you need like mental health as it relates to applying to your competitive experience?
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, man.
If I could go and read the book again, right? If I can start over, I honestly would make it a 30-day challenge. There's 31 chapters in the book, right? And each of them, like I said, if you sit with each lesson, you get value. If I wake up, knock out a chapter a day, I think that you can get the most out of that book and with yourself. If you did it that way, and if I could do it over again, I guess personally, because that way I can meditate with what I'm learning and kind of sit with it. No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you pulling up. Congratulations to you. Thank you for being vulnerable. You're more than welcome to pull up and drop some bars whenever you want, man. But thanks for pulling up, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me, man. And you that guy.
I appreciate it. You have to sign the wall.
Okay.
Had to sign the wall before you leave, man.
You already know.
Yeah, gotta get it popping. We got Monte Morris up there, Dalen Kuntz.
I get on the wall, man. I feel special.
Tyson Gilbert.
Okay, Tyson was here?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, man, okay. That's tough.